Morning, everyone. Welcome to the briefing for Wednesday, the 7th of August. Okay, so the synoptic situation today, low pressure centred just to the north of Scotland. We had this cold front pass through yesterday morning, and we've been left in quite a nice unstable air mass, possibly a little bit too unstable to our west, which we'll see later with a little bit of showers. Isobars reasonably tight together, bringing with it a fairly strong west-southwesterly flow. Moving on to tomorrow, looking potentially difficult with this warm front moving through and sat over the top of us. So we'll have to look at that in the morning to see how much we're going to get out of it, but certainly not much in the way of soaring. And Friday, now looking a bit more settled. Cold front passes through late sort of Thursday evening. Only problem we got there is the isobars really tight to each other. So quite strong winds potentially forecast on Friday. Moving into the weekend, again, more unpredictable with fronts moving in from the west. So make the most of this morning, I think. Winds 240, 250, about 20 knots, so fairly strong at flying height. Satpic, yeah, it's quite cloudy out to the west at the moment, so I imagine that's going to be responsible for the much worse soaring out that way. But in the Lasham area and out to the east and to the southeast, where we might just be able to go, it's looking quite a lot better. Rainfall radar showing quite a few showers to the northwest, so not a day to be going very far west or north, really, by the looks of it. As we run through the forecast, here's midday. It's starting to show some shower development a little bit more local to us. And as we keep this going, potentially showers moving in and into towards the Lasham area by 2, 3 o'clock. They look quite light, but they're certainly going to make sure the task area is really not very far to the west in the afternoon. Rolling it through later into the afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m., probably a higher chance for a slightly heavier shower at Lasham. It's not going to be anything particularly strong. But you see more and more showers moving in as we go throughout the afternoon. Showing quite a big band here, which sort of disappears. So the projection's obviously not working very well. I don't think there's going to be anything too significant that's going to preclude the evening flying or anything like that, but it is significant nonetheless. Public forecast then, just give it a refresh. Yeah, showing sunny intervals to begin with, and then clouding up quite quickly, showing cloudy from 11 o'clock here, and then the potential for showers, 50 to 60% showing from 2 p.m. onwards, really, to about 5 or 6 p.m. Otherwise, top temperature of 20 degrees, and a fairly stiff breeze from the southwest, gusting into the mid-20s in the early to mid-afternoon, and it's reducing quite a lot, and also veering around to the west for the evening. So might be a little bit easier for the evening group. They're probably better to go on to 2.7, but we'll be starting off on 2.3 today. Around about midday then, temperatures 21, a bit warmer to the east, 22s, 23s. Noticeably cooler under this upper cloud to the west, 18s, 17s, 16s. Dew points 10 and 11, and a little bit higher out to the west, unsurprisingly, but okay in our area, better to the east. That's currently outside. Let's just give that a refresh. Yes, you see the cumulus popping up quite nicely. That's the view to the north. If you would like to refresh, obviously not. So currently 16 degrees at Lasham. Oh, looks like the weather station's just gone down. Odium's forecast then. Half an hour ago, 8 knots from the south-southwest. Few at 1800. They put a prop 30 here this morning for scattered at 2000. And then a prop 30 for this afternoon, basically. 15 knots with gusts up to 25. Okay, your potential flight distance on top Meteo is as shown. A little bit softer than the Lasham area, noticeably better to the east where we can't go. Possibly usable down to the south coast, whether or not the gap between the airspace and the coast will be actually big enough to get any soaring in, we'll see. We look at thermals. So thermals at 10 a.m. showing to about 3,500 feet. Moving forward a couple of hours up to about 4,000. This is 2 p.m. now, showing sort of overdevelopment and some showers coming in from the west, looking reasonable down to the southeast still, but quite a lot of cloud developing by the looks of it. As we continue rolling this forwards, it's all getting a bit patchy from about 4 p.m. I imagine as more showers and more clouds comes through, and it's not looking very good later this afternoon. Sky sight then, yeah, similar picture. They're not particularly optimistic today. Sort of 200k in the very local Lasham area. Out to the west, a little bit worse. Quite nice. Central London about 600k. And if we look at a point forecast for Lasham, so showing it to be reasonably steady to begin with up until about 1:30, then it all gets a little bit scrappy. But 4-knot thermals at 11:30 showing to be the peak. 3.5 knots, 4 knots, up to a height of about 5,000 feet that's showing. So quite good this morning, but deteriorating from about 2 p.m. If we look a little bit further west, it's a sort of just slightly west of Salisbury area. Again, reasonable this morning, not quite as high, up to about 3.5, 4,000 feet, but deteriorating quite quickly here from about 1:30. Really not looking very good. If we look somewhere, let's go down to Parham area. Yeah, looking quite a lot better actually. So up to about 4,500 feet to begin with, 3.5 knot thermals, and a bit steadier into the afternoon. It looks like it's potentially weakening a little bit from about 2:30, but looking better than Lasham and certainly better than going west. Okay, no Tam's the only one that, if you happen to go that way, which I doubt, which you might need to keep an eye out for, is parachuting with 8 nautical mile radius at Little Rissington. Otherwise, nothing to affect today. So operation, they were going to go on 2-3 today, which is a bit too much southerly in the wind to go on 2-7. Cables will be running down the edge of the runway. Winch launching from the grass this side. And aerotows officially will be from the grass, the other side of the runway in the direction of 2-3. If there is suddenly a lot of demand, i.e. more than about 10, 15 of you wanting to go cross country, then we can do a grid on 2-7 here. And we'll probably just pause the launching while we do that. To be honest, I don't think there'll be that many given the strength of the wind and the forecast deteriorating this afternoon, but we'll wait and see. But if there's less than about 10, 15 of you, just come to the launch point, treat it as a normal launch point, pull your glider up and we'll give you a launch. One other thing to talk about, we've got potentially a 737 inbound anytime from about 10:30 onwards. It's departing from Stansted at 10 on an air test, and depending on the results of the air test, it might be coming to Lasham. Of course, I'll be landing on 2-7, so we'll have to change the takeoff and landing direction temporarily. It's a good reason not to go on 2-7 this morning as well. So make sure, just keep the runway clear. You should be anyway with the positioning of the launch point, and just expect potential movement early on. In case it's a little bit later, if you are airborne, just make sure your radio's turned up, please. And if you do have to come back, double check what runway we're on, sort of this morning into the afternoon, just in case we have got this movement. Just a reminder, no landing on the cross runway south of the main runway, where you can avoid it. Instructors, please take over as necessary and treat them as an emergency only landing option. So do it if you absolutely have to, and student pilots flying solo if you need to, but please try and avoid it. It's a pretty big airfield. I'm sure we can manage. Glider ground handling is getting better. Please keep focusing on that. And the simulator is serviceable. Okay, I'll see you out there. Bye for now.